All right, so I first came to Embry-Riddle in fall of 2023. I transferred from University of New Hampshire. So I got to this school, obviously super excited to start like my new journey and path here. It was about like probably 3-ish weeks, or like when I first got here, like it was actually funny, me and my friend Emily, we were like, and you know, like I did all my running conditioning prior during the summer and stuff. And I remember like I look at her, cause we're running around the field, and like, God, like I feel so like heavy. I was like, I feel so out of breath and like out of shape. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, like I've been doing like run packets, like I've been like keeping up and like I'm good for the run test. Like I've been going on like 3-mile runs. Like I'm totally fine. Like I don't know why. I was like, maybe it's just the heat. And she's like, yeah, it's like probably just the heat. I'm like, okay, like yeah, it probably is. So like we keep running. I'm just like kind of feeling a little off and stuff. And then it starts to kind of like progress a little bit into like getting like, you know, like cramps and stuff, but I mean, you know, girls, we get cramps, so it's like, you know, you kind of just like whatever, it doesn't really matter. You know, it kind of started progressing a little more, and then I ended up going to like a routine checkup, which was like a good idea, because there was like one night where like I almost like kind of like passed out, and like I literally like woke up in the middle of the night and I was like got sweats and like a headache, and I was like dizzy, and I was like, ooh, like this isn't really normal, and I like tried to go to the bathroom, and I like kind of like collapsed to the floor, and then I like was crawling, and like I knocked on my roommate's door. I was like, something's wrong, but so I went to like the doctors and stuff, and they ended up doing like a CT scan and everything like that, just to make sure everything was fine, and then when the doctor came in and stuff, like he basically like said that they saw something on the screen and stuff, which ended up being a huge tumor, like bigger than a grapefruit, like on my left like ovary. And he said that like sometimes they're not cancerous, but there's also a chance there could be. So they recommended me getting into surgery right away to try to like get it out and to make sure it's not spreading and stuff. So I got surgery for that about like later September and stuff. And then when I got the surgery, I was recovering from that. Basically, I got hooked up with these doctors again, like super weird, and like, which I don't know, I'm gonna bring it up because like I'm a big believer that like everything happens for a reason and stuff. And again, like my teammate Emily, like of all the things her dad could be, her dad was an oncology doctor. Literally, like, what are the freaking odds, right? That like out of anywhere I could have transferred to, like out of anywhere, all these signs started like happening and stuff, and like, you know, I had a tumor, had to get it removed. Her dad was literally an oncologist doctor.
I remember when she told me that she had cancer, I actually got in touch with my dad right away. And right away, he got in touch with her.
So like I didn't have a primary doctor at the time too, so like when I was like calling places, cause like I had photos of the scans and like I sent it to her dad, and he was like surprised they even like let me leave the hospital, because like it was so big what could happen sometimes, like the tumor could flip over and it could kind of like make you internally bleed and stuff. I tried calling like primary doctors, and it was gonna take like months to even like or like weeks to even get seen with a primary doctor, and then months to even like schedule surgery, but he was able to get everything like boom, boom, boom for me, which like I'm so grateful for. So like I like to shout him out whenever I can. Mr. Silliman, he's an angel. So I was diagnosed with a germ cell tumor, which is like less than like 2% of people get them and stuff, which is like kind of crazy. But essentially, like for those when it's like in the first stages, like you typically don't need to like receive chemo and stuff. But unfortunately mine, like, cause it was so big, it like started spreading to like surrounding areas. So unfortunately, like the tumor wasn't contained, so I had to undergo chemo. So that's basically in October 5th, I started my first treatment. So I underwent 3 rounds of chemotherapy. It kind of was a week straight of one chemo. So there's just like 3 different types of treatments or like chemo I received. It was like ETOP, Bleo, and carboplatin or something like that. I was part of like a study too, which is pretty cool because since it was so rare, they asked if I could be part of it to like kind of learn more about like, there's 2 different type of like chemo drugs they were trying to like test to see which one works better. They just do like a random thing, you get picked, and then I was like, okay. Yeah, so I just went through treatment. I got 3 rounds. My teammates, coaches, like, see, I'm gonna cry. They're amazing. They're amazing human beings, and like they support me through like the whole entire journey. And like, I don't know what I honestly would have done without them here, because I decided to do treatment here because it was a new environment, which like I think attests to like my team is that like, you know, I just met these girls, but like I already felt like family, and I felt like I could go through this whole experience like here with them. KK at the time and Coach Nick and like all my teammates were just like so supportive, and everyone was here for me. And you know, they talk about like, you know, like your village and stuff, and they definitely became like my village here and stuff. Always just like being there for me, whether it was like having to drive me to treatments or like if I had to go get blood transfusions. Coach Nick was literally like sat with me through the whole thing. Even like it was like hard to eat sometimes, so like the only thing I could eat sometimes during treatment was like the McDonald's like shaved apples. Like that was the only thing I could eat without like throwing it up. Sorry if that's too bad. But and like I remember like Coach Nick was taking me to a blood transfusion, which is basically when like your platelet counts are like too low to get to receive treatment and stuff, because like your immune system's too weak, so your body can't like support the chemo. You have to get a blood transfusion to get those counts up before you can start your next round. So I had to get one of those because I wasn't doing too hot. But Coach Nick took me to my appointment, and she showed up with a bag of like those apples, and it's just like things like that, right? It's just like so thoughtful, and like I think I mentioned that to her once, that like that's all I've been able to eat these past couple weeks, and just her willing to like drop everything, take me to my treatment, sit through 3 hours of like the blood transfusion in Orlando too, keep in mind, so that's like a 2 hour there, well there and back is 2 hours, and you know, just giving me the apples, like stopping early, you know what I mean? It's just, so I'm just forever grateful for them and how they helped me through that.
She faced a lot of early challenges, and all of which are very scary, but she leaned on us as her family here, home away from home, and continued to show us as a team her resilience and strength through this journey.
I went through the treatment, and then on December 5th, got cleared, so I got all my scans, went through chemo, and everything was good and clear, so I got to ring the bell, which was pretty cool, surreal experience for sure. Yeah, just like all my doctors and nurses, they all like line up on the side, and like I was at like a kid's hospital for it. It was also like a very surreal experience with that, you know, seeing like, kind of put things into perspective a lot too, right? Like there's these little kids out here who are like fighting for their lives, and it was really like admirable to see that like these kids going through this at such a young age, and being able to like, you know what I mean, like get through treatment, and like, cause you know, like I'm sitting there like, and I'm just like, God, these little kids are doing it, like I gotta do it too, you know? And it just like kind of makes you like realize like the strength in like so many different like kids, that is like really cool to see too. But so they had it at the kids hospital, so the doctors and nurses were also very like, which is cool. So they had like little bubble machines, and so I rang the bell, and I had like the coaches came too, and like my roommate and my dad and stuff like flew out for that as well, which is like really cool. Finally went home, and you know, just getting my strength back up and getting back into practice when we came back for preseason. Unfortunately, like I think it was February 22nd, I tore my ACL, which was like, you know, life it'll throw you some challenges and stuff, but you know, I always just kind of like to view it as like the challenges like what makes you who you are and stuff. And I think my whole big motto through both of the experiences and stuff, as I was like going through chemo and like recovering from my ACL, was that like you're gonna go through like these challenges anyways, so it's like and like you can't control it. So, but the only thing you can control is like your attitude and how you go through it. So I feel like that was something I really liked, I think helped me get through it, is like I'm gonna have to go through it anyways. But I mean, I could either go through it like being negative and like feeling sorry for myself, or I could go through it being strong and being positive and seeing like the silver lining and things. So I mean, crappy experiences for sure, but I mean, I think it definitely has shaped me into like the person I am today. And you know, it's like one of those things too, where like in the moment, you like feel like it's like your biggest weakness. A year later, right, it's just like the source of what like you felt at the time was like your biggest weakness like becomes like something you look back on it for like your biggest strength that you can draw from, which I think is like really beautiful and like ironic at the same time, that like that flip could happen.
Jordan coming in as a transfer one was already having to prove herself on the field, and then having to go through what she did was very empowering to watch from the sidelines. And as her friend, she proved herself over and over again. Even going through what she did, she would come out to the field even on her worst days and come and support the team, and I think that shows how strong she is. We can do this, like as a woman, you can go through things like that and still come out stronger on the outside, and here she is playing today, so it's a really good message.
That summer, went to like EMT school and stuff as well, just trying to, I always wanted to like be an EMT and all of that, just to like help others out. And then now I'm here, and season's here, we're excited, like all that's in the past, we're healthy, we're happy, and I was really excited to get back on the field and stuff and like play the sport that I came here to do and love. Again, right, just like challenges and stuff like shape you into the person you are. today, and I just really honestly, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for it because I feel like I don't know, I feel like I'm a lot stronger of a person because of it, but yeah.
She showed up every day and gave it everything she had that day. She leaned on us when she needed us, but also always brought smile, fun energy to every practice.
I mean, she was the most positive person throughout it all. I mean, we even had classes together and she would still show up no matter how tired she was. No matter if it was a bad day, good day, she would always have a smile on her face.
She would always just ask me how I was doing and not even focus on herself. And so I just thought that was always the most empowering thing I've ever seen in my life.
And, you know, I'm just so proud of our team for supporting her and loving her through everything that she went through. But ultimately, you know, I'm just so proud of Jordan. She's the best kid, and she deserves the world. And I'm just so excited to see what this year has in store for her.